Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle a mental habit that, let's be honest, gets pretty much all of us, rumination. But we're going to look at it from a completely new angle, one that might just totally flip the script on how you think about, well, thinking.
You know that feeling, don't you? Some issue pops into your head, and suddenly you're literally pacing the floor of your own mind, arguing for the prosecution, then turning right around and arguing for the defense. It's exhausting, right? And it feels like you have absolutely no say in the matter.
But here's this fascinating idea from psychologist Dr. Michael J. Greenberg. He says, hey, maybe the problem isn't the case itself. Maybe the problem is that you keep choosing to show up for the trial in the first place. It's a total twist on how we usually see overthinking.
All right, so let's dig into this myth of overthinking. Are we even tackling the right problem here? Because, most of us feel like this whole internal debate thing, it's something that just happens to us, not something we actually do.
Yeah, it feels like you're just getting pummeled by your own thoughts. It's a storm, a flood, you name it. And we just have to ride it out. But what if that's not the whole picture? What if we're actually playing a more active role in the storm than we realize?
And this is where we get to the real aha moment of this whole explainer. We're about to look at a whole new definition of rumination, and it shifts everything from this passive thing that happens to you to a very active process. And if it's active, that means it's controllable.
So what is it? Rumination is basically any kind of mental engagement with a problem. It's the moment you shift into problem-solving mode. What's so huge about this is its simplicity. The thought itself isn't the problem. Rumination is what happens the second you decide to do something with it. It's that click in your brain where you go, right, I gotta figure this out. Now, that is the act of rumination.
And honestly, this is the most game-changing part of this whole idea. If rumination is an action, something we're literally choosing to do, well, that means we can also choose not to do it. It stops being this crazy storm that just hits you, and it becomes a tool that you're picking up.
So what does this mental engagement actually feel like in the real world? Well, it could be analyzing a conversation you had yesterday, or mentally reviewing a mistake over and over again. It's that mental checking, Am I still anxious? How about now? It's visualizing the worst-case scenario, or just consciously deciding to focus all your attention on a problem. See? These are all actions. They're all things you are actively doing. Okay, so to really get a handle on this, we've got to draw a super clear line in the sand. We need to separate the mental stuff we can't control from the stuff we absolutely 100% can. And look, this isn't just some intellectual exercise. According to Dr. Greenberg, really truly getting this distinction, that is the absolute foundation for changing your relationship with anxiety. It's everything.
All right, let's break this down with a really clear example. So a thought just pops into your head. Bam, did I lock the door? You can't control that. It just showed up. That's uncontrollable. But the moment you start going, what does that mean? What if I didn't? What would happen? That's you trying to figure it out. That's controllable. That is rumination.
Okay, here's another one. Just knowing you have a big, stressful problem, like a deadline at work, that awareness, that's uncontrollable. It's just a fact. But the part where you shift gears and start actively trying to solve it in your head while you're trying to watch a movie, that's a choice. You're choosing to ruminate. Now this next one is subtle, but oh man, it is so important. Let's say you notice a weird feeling in your body. The noticing part? Uncontrollable. But the act of monitoring it, constantly checking in, is it still there, is it worse, directing all your attention to it, that is a controllable mental action. And one last one, let's talk about imagery. A vague, unpleasant image might flash in your mind, totally uncontrollable, but grabbing onto that image and then purposefully, vividly building out a whole disastrous movie scene around it in your head, that is an act of rumination. You see the pattern here, right? It's the difference between a raindrop landing on you and choosing to go stand directly under a fire hose. Okay, so why does any of this matter? Why have we been so focused on drawing this line? Well, because understanding this distinction, it basically reveals both the source of so much anxiety and, way more importantly, the path out.
This quote from Dr. Greenberg just hits the nail on the head. I mean, think about it. So much of our mental distress comes from this exact mix-up. We fight with the thoughts that just appear out of nowhere, which is impossible, and at the same time we completely miss the fact that we can stop the engagement part, which is totally possible.
And this is where it connects directly to clinical terms, like in OCD. The obsession is the thought or the image that just shows up. You can't control it. No. The compulsion, though, that's the rumination. That's the engagement you do in response. And is that controllable? Yes, absolutely. Rumination is the mental compulsion.
Okay, so if it's controllable, why does it feel so frickin' impossible to stop sometimes? Well, Dr. Greenberg suggests it's because we get trapped in this internal tug of war between two goals that are completely at odds with each other. So on one side, you've got this desperate desire to just stop thinking about it, because it's so painful. But on the other side, you've got this intense urge to engage with it, to figure it out, to finally solve the problem for good. The thing is, you can't do both at the same time. You can't disengage and solve it. And that conflict, that's what creates that awful stuck feeling. So, what's the key? How do you take back control? The strategy is actually beautifully simple. Now, simple doesn't always mean easy, but it is simple. It all boils down to 2 steps. First, you recognize, and then you disengage. Okay, step 1. You just have to get really good at spotting it when it's happening. You notice the thought, and then you catch yourself shifting into that problem-solving mode. You have to see it for what it is, a controllable choice you're making. And then, step 2, you eliminate the compulsion. You consciously choose to stop engaging. You just drop the mental tool. You let the thought just be there without dragging it into the courtroom. So here's the bottom line, the big takeaway. The goal is not to control your thoughts. That's a losing battle. The goal is to control your engagement with them. That's it. You give up the impossible fight of trying to police what pops into your head, and instead you focus all your energy on the one thing you actually can control, whether or not you pick it up and run with it.
And that really just leaves us with one last question for you to think about. What would actually happen if you stopped trying to solve all your thoughts? What if you just let them be? What would change for you if you decided to just resign as the lawyer, let the courtroom in your mind go quiet, and just let thoughts come and go without feeling like you have to do something about every single one?